Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Escape Artist. On this week's video we're looking at ways you can mitigate the dangers of having a serious fall or a mechanical breakdown while you're out on the trails. In doing that we're going to review these three products here: Spot Tracker, Garmin InReach Mini and just a regular old PLB. At the end of that review I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I like to carry and why. So let's get into it right now. So let's start with this unit here. This is a PLB. It is used purely for emergencies, SOS, that's it. You need to make sure when you do go to use this device that it is an emergency. A mechanical breakdown on the side of the road is not going to cut it as far as the rescue services are concerned. So that is a consideration. To use this device, we just simply unflip the antenna, put that up there, pull down this red tab, and behind that is a button, and that sends a GPS coordinate to emergency services and hopefully someone comes to get you. There is no two-way communication with this device, so you are hitting that button and just hoping that someone comes to get you. All the reviews that I've read on this have been really good. I haven't heard of them never working, so that's some pretty good peace of mind right there. Here in Australia, this device is around about $260, and that's a one-off cost. There's no subscription fee. That's it. I keep mine in my jacket, so it's with me all the time. You can keep it in your bag, wherever you like to keep it in your cupboard, and just take it wherever you might go, hunting, hiking, on your bike, all of those sorts of things. It's a really handy device to carry for that bit of peace of mind, to know that should things go really wrong, you've got some backup. This particular device is a sealed unit, and within it has a battery that has a 10-year lifespan, so that is something that you need to consider when you're carrying this around. You do need to register this beacon online with a government agency, and they will send you a reminder every year via email, and that's a really good way to keep track of how old the battery is, because it'll show you the very first time you registered it. There is a little blue button right there where you can test the device, but you do need to keep in mind that every time you test the device you lose a little bit of battery life. So let's look at the Spot Tracker. Spot were the first company to come up with these devices, and this one here is a beauty. We'll start down here. You've got a little OK button. Now on your account you'll have a list of contacts that you want to send messages to. By pressing that button there with the little tick on, what it does is it sends a message to those people, GPS coordinate, and it lets them know that you've stopped for an indefinite period of time or overnight and that everything's fine. In the middle we have a boot, and that boot is a tracking function. Now you can set that to track you every 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I think maybe even every half an hour. And as long as you've got satellite coverage, what it will do is it will send your GPS location at that period of time back to your account, so that when you get home you can have a look and see exactly where you've been. This function here is messages. So they are pre-typed messages that you would write on your account, and they get sent to your contacts that you've allocated on that account. This one here is helping hands, and it's hidden behind a little flap like that so you don't hit it accidentally. And the beauty of that one is to let people know that you need some help. It's not an emergency. You may have mechanical breakdown, you might have hurt you may have rolled your ankle. It doesn't really matter as long as it's not an emergency. You would send that and it says, hey, I'm in trouble, please come and get me. On this side here, again behind a flap, big red button, SOS, and that's pretty self-explanatory. It pays to remember that the Spot Tracker is one-way communication only. You can't receive messages back on this. However, for peace of mind, what you have here is this little light, and that is a message sent notification. It flashes green once that's been received by whoever it is you're trying to send the message to. So that is a little bit of peace of mind, but it is only one-way messaging. The Spot Tracker here in Australia is around about $300 to purchase, and then on top of that you've got a subscription fee of anywhere up to about $300 per year as well. So that is a consideration. So now let's take a look at the Garmin InReach Mini. So this does all the things that the Spot Tracker does and several more. Okay, so you've got all of these little buttons here. You've got your SOS, which is under there, again with a little latch so that you don't press it accidentally. It has many functions. So this little fella here is waterproof. It'll take a dunk in water for up to about 30 seconds, about 1 meter deep. Not that I recommend you give that a shot. It also has, you can pair this with an app on your phone for navigation. It does drain the battery a fair bit, but that is a pretty cool function to have in such a device so small. It does all the tracking. You can send pre-typed messages. It will give you weather reports. You can get really basic navigation on it. It'll send you little maps to this tiny little screen. You can imagine a little screen like that. It's not going to be great, but it's something if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're lost. One of the main functions that people buy this for is the fact that this is two-way communication. So if you hit that SOS, they can communicate back with you. And it has, through these little toggles, on the side there, okay, I mean it's a bit of a pain in the butt to do, but you can actually type messages using that and send those. There is no message sent notification, but as a friend pointed out to me, when you get a reply from that message, that is your message sent notification. So this is a superior machine to the Spot. There's no doubt about it, absolutely no doubt about it. It's also a little bit more expensive. To buy it here in Australia, you're looking around about $600, and then the subscription fees from there are fairly hefty as well. So you can end up paying in excess in Australian dollars $1,200, I think, a year for the full subscription. That's a lot. It's a lot of money for, I suppose, peace of mind if you really want that much peace of mind. It does, however, have the option to what they call a flex option, which allows you just a monthly subscription. It's a minimum of a month, and that is a fantastic idea. If you don't want to be paying $1,200, you're going on a month-long trip out into the bush for around about $150 Australian. You can have that full peace of mind that you can contact anyone at any time, anywhere through this little device. Really good. It's important to note that either of these machines, when you send any kind of message on them, really need a very good exposure to open air so that they can reach those satellites. If you're in heavy tree cover or you're inside some sort of cave or something like that, they're just not going to work. So that is something to consider. On top of that is the satellite networks that these guys use. Spot use a satellite network called Globalstar, and Garmin uses a satellite network called Iridium. Now Iridium are able to boast the fact that they are the only satellite network that reach all corners of the globe. So that is some peace of mind when you're using the Garmin, and that would explain why they're a little bit more expensive. Globalstar, there are some black spots when you're traveling internationally. There are some parts of Africa that they don't reach, and some parts of the ocean that are also, it won't work. So that is something to consider. So now that we've reviewed those three items, I'm going to give you my opinion on what I like to carry the most. Now, as I said, the Garmin InReach Mini is a far superior item than the other two. There's no doubt about that. And if I were going on a long journey for a period of time where I knew I was going to be out of reach, that is the one I would be carrying. But for the riding that I do at the moment, I use this, and I prefer the simplicity of this. Now there's a couple of reasons for that. I've used Spot Tracker in the past, and I found the functions for me personally were a bit gimmicky. So I found myself on rides, sitting around the campsite, fiddling with this machine, and it took away what it was that I was chasing as far as my adventure riding went. It drew me back in, the technology drew me back into society, I guess, and I just found that it was a bit of a downer. So I stopped using it. I let the subscription cease, and I just moved on to one of these, because for me this is peace of mind. If something goes really wrong, I've got that peace of mind. If I break down or if I get a little bit injured, then to me that's part of the adventure. You know, you're going to be pretty unlucky to die from a mechanical breakdown, and if it looks like that's going to be the case, you press this. A lot of guys travel without one of these. Now that's an adventure that I'm not really up for, I've got to say. To me that's really asking for trouble. So at the very least, get yourself one of these, and if you're heading out on a really long adventure, especially internationally, I guess, into places where you don't know what's ahead of you, then the Garmin InReach Mini would be my choice. That's it for this week's episode, folks. Please leave some comments on your experiences using any of these machines or others. There are others. There are the Spot X, I think it is, and that has a keyboard on it that you can communicate with. There's also the Garmin InReach Explorer, which also has a keyboard. That's a step way too far for me. But you know, if you've had good experiences with them, then please comment, let everybody know what your thoughts are. Everybody's got a different opinion, and I'd really love to hear yours. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Escape Artist. Bye for now.